Welcome back. You're still watching VOP this morning. Now on to the second story. Tragedy struck yesterday in Agor or Kota area of Lagos after a vehicle being chased by an official of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, rammed into a tricycle, killing a pregnant woman and a tricycle operator. Eyewitnesses allege that one of the LASMA officials at Okota roundabout was trying to take over the steering of a Toyota Sienna vehicle from the driver while in motion. It was alleged that the driver had violated traffic rules. In the process, the vehicle reportedly lost control and rammed into a tricycle on Bayo Oyewale Street. The pregnant woman was said to be taking her children to school when the tragedy struck. The incident sparked a protest as an irate mob descended on the LASMA official, but the timely intervention of a team of policemen saved the official from being lynched as the officers fired tear gas canisters to disperse the mob. The policemen also cleared the barricade mounted on the road by the protesters as they whisked the LASMA officials away. Now, still with us is Chukwuma Okoro and Nelson Ekujim-Jumi, both of whom are public affairs analysts. Now, to you, Nelson, what do you have to say about this tragic incident? What do you have to say? What's your opinion generally about it?
My opinion about that incident is that it's a sad one. I commiserate with the families of the deceased woman and her children who are in the hospital, and I wish them quick recovery. It brings to fore the reason why we need to continuously engage, educate, sensitize, and reorientate our public service officials. I'm talking about the incident now. What you have just said is the story from maybe eyewitnesses. I want to wait on the police authorities to investigate this matter and ensure justice is done on it. But be that as it may, I want to commiserate once again. I feel saddened by this tragic incident, which makes me sad as a human being. And if the story we have had so far is true, the officer involved, will be liable to, homicide, will be liable to maybe manslaughter according to law. But most importantly, this should serve as a lesson to not only the LASMA officials, but other, security agencies that, look, in the course of your duty, you must be professional, because what differentiates you from any other human being in the society is that you have gone through some trainings in how to, engage yourself in public conduct. And in doing that, I'm sure it will be part of the, the motto responsibility, then you endanger the lives of Nigerians. So for me, this incident is a tragic one. It's one that will call on the police to investigate and ensure that the society gets justice.
All right, now, Nelson, I'm going to this one. A few things jump out at me when I saw this story. Yes, of course, the police spokesperson has issued a statement. They said it was a policeman attached to the LASMA officials at a particular checkpoint. The driver, just to give you an overview of the story, all right, and give our listeners an overview of the story. The driver took one way, and he was apprehended for taking one way, and the policeman attached to LASMA officials volunteered to escort this driver to the LASMA compound where he would be booked. Now, on their way, they got into Agor Palace Way, and then the driver decided to, play a smart one, in his bid to avoid going to the LASMA yard. We don't know what discussion transpired within the vehicle, but he drove into a street and rammed into a tricycle that was conveying a pregnant woman and her two children. Unfortunately, the tricycle rider died on the spot. The woman was said to have died at the hospital, and the two children we hear are currently receiving treatment. Now, the two things I say that jump out at me, one is the attitude of law enforcement agents in apprehending people. We see them. I don't know if you've, I mean, you drive in Lagos, so I don't know if you've ever had an encounter. Well, I have had an encounter where, I parked in a place and I was told it was not a bus stop. Meanwhile, people were standing there waiting to board buses. And while I was there, one came into my car. Before I knew it, a policeman came into my car. While I was talking with him, another one came to this side, the side. And while I got distracted talking to that one, the one in the car removed the car keys immediately. Now, this is the attitude of law enforcement agents. The fact that they come at you like they are trying to pounce on you for certain infractions. Are there no better ways to do this? Now, this is not excusing those that flout rules by taking one way and none of that, because that in itself can cause accidents. All right, so we are not excusing them, but in the discharge of their duties, can the law enforcement agents be better at it? Especially this is 2023, for goodness sake.
I want you to get one fact clear, that you saw people at that point trying to board a bus does not confer legality or that place is a bus stop. We are all aware of what happens in our society, where government has earmarked the place for bus stop, they have built the place, but people, passengers, and commercial vehicles create their own bus stop. That's a major cause of traffic in Lagos. Every other part of the country. You and I know that for sure. And again, you talked about the conduct of our law enforcement agencies. Yes, those conducts are deplorable, they are condemnable, but we must also condemn our own conduct as well as citizens. You and I know for free that if you go on our routes, at every junction where you have security or traffic controlling official, if the traffic controlling official is not holding a stick or an iron, people don't respect him. A traffic light will show green or red. Nigerians, a lot of us will want to, disobey the traffic light, and that was why the Lagos State government, installed, CCTV cameras to capture you if you violate traffic rules. So this issue is one in which we should look at our conduct. The security or the traffic controlling agency operative who has conducted himself in a way that is at variance with the law is a product of our homes. It's a product of what we do ourselves. That we ourselves, we don't respect the law. We don't respect law enforcement agencies. That is why when a law enforcement agent apprehends anybody, the next thing you want to look for people around you who can quickly come and help you sort out the problem. Nobody among us want to, go through with the process of the law, because a lot of times when we blame them, we must not run away from the fact that we are culpable. We don't respect the law. We don't do right thing. As I speak to you, I'm somebody who will never pass one way for 120 million naira that the winner in BB Nigeria All Stars won. I will not try it, because I know the value I place on my own life, not to talk of other persons. So in this case, the Nigerian people themselves need to talk to themselves. The security agencies need to be admonished. A security official has apprehended you, is taking you to the office to go and book you. The next thing you start, struggling with on the steering with him. I've seen it repeatedly, and that is why I always admonish my people that whenever you are apprehended and you are being taken to the office, don't do anything that will endanger anybody. They don't kill people in last mile office. Last mile office is not a slaughter slab. It's a place where there are human beings, and there's people there who will listen to you. And even the last mile or the security operatives, they even have some other mechanisms that you can report to. But how effective are those mechanisms? Right, that is an issue for another day.
All right, but thank you very much.
All right, Chukwuma. Now, who do we blame for this for this incident? Because people are saying, oh, the LASMA official should have not, struggled with the driver and all of that. Of course, there are different versions of this incident. But Nelson mentioned something very vital. He said there are CCTV cameras, all around Lagos. Shouldn't that be enough precaution in that, without having to struggle with any driver, there is a CCTV camera that has already captured your plate your number plate and everything else, and all they need to do is come find you and or do something to you to make sure that you pay for whatever traffic crime committed. But now that because these things happen every time, you see LASMA officials, police, dragging with the steering wheel of drivers and all of that, and this most times leads to things like things that are not pleasant, such as this tragic incident. What do you think can be done to sort this out?
Joy, were you talking to me?
Chukuma, yes. Chukuma, yes.
Honestly, I didn't get you. The studio is echoing.
Oh, okay.
So I might just have to speak extempore about what happened.
Okay.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that the woman and her 2 children had to die the way they died, including the driver. It speaks to our behavior as people, as Nigerians. We don't like obeying the laws. I don't know why. And maybe because we have a way of not being brought to justice by the legal system itself. If the authorities had apprehended you and were taking you to the office to book you so that you pay a fine, what was the essence of diverting? You didn't need to divert. What was the essence of diverting when you had an armed policeman beside you, I understand, and another official? So why were you trying to divert? It was in the process of diversion that the official started dragging the steering with the bus driver, with the Sienna driver, and unfortunately, they collided with a tricycle and killed 3 people. I understand that the driver himself died on the spot as well. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
What we should do as a people is to try to obey the laws. If there's an infraction on the road and you are aware that there's an infraction, the only thing for you to do is to pay the penalty. But that brings me to one issue, the issue of not having national data that we can use to fight crime and criminality. If, for instance, we had accurate data and this man's driver's license tallies with the car he is driving, or by the time they apprehended him and he has run foul of the law, they collected his driver's license. What they need to do is either let him go, they'll now take it to their office and book him. But in this case, if the man escapes, he has escaped. So it is difficult for us to keep a tab on criminals because we don't have accurate data with which we can fish people out. If we had that, there was no need for them to start struggling for the steering to the point of having to go and collide. And I can imagine the level of speed that they were driving at, that the driver died on the spot, while the woman and her 2 children died later. It's very unfortunate.
All right, Chukuma, do you think this has any link to the corruption we see on our roads in Nigeria? Whereby the LASMA officials or any official, even the police, try to negotiate. Of course, they know the driver has committed a crime by taking the one way or, committing any crime, so to speak, but they tend to, want to have some kind of conversation with the driver, in that instead of taking you to the office, we can sort it out right here on the road, in that you can give me this amount of money and you can go free, instead of having to take you to the office and have you go through all the processes, which so many people tend to, try to, run away from. So sometimes this happens. So do you think this is still about corruption in Nigeria?
Yes, it's all part of the corruption that we are looking at. But in this case, the driver is no longer alive to tell us what happened, to the point of having to take him to the station. But I'm of the opinion that if they had tried to talk about how to rescue the situation before going to the station, they probably wouldn't have done that to him.
No, I think the driver, the driver of the Sienna is still alive.
He's still alive. The information I have is that he's dead.
Yes.
Sorry? He's dead.
The driver of the
Sorry?
Dead. Yeah. The driver of the tricycle is dead. But the driver of the Sienna. The driver of the tricycle is dead. But the driver of the Sienna.
Okay, the driver of the tricycle it died.
Yes.
Okay, not the bus driver.
No.
Okay, so what we should do now is to get the bus driver, since he's alive, to give us a narration of what happened or what transpired up to the point. Okay. But I'm afraid the LASMA guys didn't play ball with him, and that was probably what led to that fracas. If the LASMA guy, there wouldn't have been any need to take him to the station.
All right,
I was in Lagos when...
Let's sorry to interrupt you because of time now. Let's just have your final thoughts on this, and we'll wrap this up so I can, go to Nelson's thoughts as well. Can we do that in 60 seconds?
The studio, there's a very strong glitch here. I can't even make sense of what you are saying. So I just managed to, when I pick the few things you have said, I managed to respond based on my understanding of what you have asked. The issue is that it's what happened is condemnable, both on the part of the individual and on the part of the officials. When LASMA started, I was in Lagos when LASMA started. They were very dutiful, very diligent in their duties. They were, at that point, almost incorruptible. I have to say that. But with time, they started going the Nigerian way. It's unfortunate. So what the authorities need to do is to see how they can revalue the LASMA system and ensure that the people they employ there, they don't have bad eggs among them. And Nigerians too should try as much as possible to be law-abiding. See, if you are driving 180 and I'm driving 160, in a space of 3 minutes, we are at the same point. If you stop, I'll meet you. So there's no need to always be in a hurry. We should be patient enough and stop this rage in driving and using the roads. It has killed so many people. Unavoidably, avoidable deaths have occurred as a result of impatience on the roads.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chukwuma Okoro. We do appreciate you for your contribution and your time. Nelson and Kujumi, if you're still with us, let's have your final take, please.
My final thought is to the Nigerian people as well as that at every point in time, we must recognize that even the roads operate by laws, and that respect for the laws is critical if we want to have a safe, and peaceful society. This incident could have been avoided if the apprehended driver had obeyed the law and allowed himself to have, been taken to the office rather than struggling at the steering with the policeman that accompanied him. Because we have seen repeatedly that the attitude of a lot of us is law violating, and that is responsible for where we are, and we're seeing this type of things on our roads and in our society. So it is totally condemnable. We need to change our attitude as a people, whether as a law enforcement officer, whether as a traffic controlling or a traffic agency officer, or as a citizen. We must always respect the laws of the land.
Thank you very much, Nelson Ekujimi, also a public affairs commentator. We appreciate you for your time being with us on the program. Well, let's go into the world of business now, very, very quickly. To business now, the federal government has stated that no fewer than 23 oil blocks managed by both international and local oil companies, which are under crude oil production sharing contracts with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, failed to produce crude oil or were inactive. It disclosed this in the latest oil and gas industry report for 2021 released by the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, an agency of the federal government. It stated that the blocks failed to produce crude in the year under review. Now, PSC, in an arrangement or contract where the contracted oil company undertakes to fund operations to explore, develop, and produce petroleum within a concession area under an oil prospecting license and for an agreed number of years. If the effort is successful, the company will be subject to pay petroleum profit tax, royalty, and other bonuses or levies to the government. The company is entitled to recover its cost in kind through what is known as cost oil. Now, the federal government has issued licenses to 17 independent electricity distribution network operators, among which 10 are currently operational. It disclosed this in the 2022 Market Competition Report released on Tuesday by the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, an agency of the federal government. The government revealed this while providing a breakdown of the company's power distribution segment. Nigeria's power sector is basically categorized into the electricity generation, transmission, and distribution segments. In November 2013, when the sector was unbundled into the three segments, 11 successor distribution companies were created and were privatized, as they have been serving the country since then, amidst complaints by consumers, of course. Well, those are the business stories that we have at the moment. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll serve you entertainment and sports. Stay with us.